The Asian American Pacific Islander Nurses Association of Nevada presents Healthy Mondays with Apina of Nevada. Start the week healthy and right with interesting conversations on living a healthy lifestyle. And now, your Healthy Mondays host, Dr. Mary Faye Axon Armstrong.
Aloha! Good evening! Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat na imbaga sardam. Maayong gabi sa inyong tanan. I'm yours truly, Dr. Mary Faye Celebre Axon Armstrong, founding president of the Asian American Pacific Islander Nurse Association of Nevada and professor in nursing at Roseman University of Health Sciences College of Nursing. So what is happening today? Flowers are blooming, birds are chirping, and love is in the air. So I plan to interview a madly in love couple for our tonight's guest. But I was declined. But they have very valid excuse. Tonight is very special for them, and they have made special arrangement for a very special night tonight. Sort of like a do not disturb sign kind of thing. So tonight, instead, I have 39 challenging questions for all of you, 36 of whom have been asked in a research study. And I'll start with 3 questions. Before I ask the questions, I wanted to thank all of you for continuing to watch Healthy Mondays with us. And we'll continue to provide innovative and exciting episodes for you. I know Healthy Monday does not only relate to your body, it also relates to your mind and spirit. I just had our pastor today, Sunday, had emphasized that for those who know about the Trinity, the Holy Trinity, God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, and our pastor emphasized that God created us with also 3 parts. We have our body, we have our mind, and our spirit. So tonight, I wanted to impart about taking care of your well-being, your happiness and well-being. And I think this 39 challenging question for all of you, 3 of which I'm going to ask now. So the first question is, do you celebrate Valentine's Day? And the next question is, why? And the last question for this first segment is, do you feel that the celebration helps you keep your happiness in your life and help you with your well-being? Well, I have asked my colleagues and friends from Apina of Nevada who were brave enough to take the challenge. So let's listen to what they have to say about Valentine's Day.
Hello, everyone. This is Zara Burines. I just would like to say that we celebrate Valentine's because we believe that is a special day for us to connect to each other. So it's very crucial that we can feel that we are special to others as well. So if I were you, please greet everyone Happy Valentine's Day. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Dr. Andrew Reyes. I am an assistant professor at the School of Nursing, University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Yes, I celebrate Valentine's Day. The reason I celebrate Valentine's Day is that I want to celebrate the relationships in my life. I believe Valentine's Day is not only celebrated within our intimate relationships, but also in our family, friends, and even fellow workers. I also believe that the quality of our lives is dependent on the quality of our relationships. So let us remember to celebrate our relationships in our lives. Happy Valentine's Day.
And there you have it. February 14 is Valentine's Day, or Araw ng Mga Puso. So Valentine's Day, or Saint Valentine's Day, is celebrated every year on February 14. It's the day when people show their affection for another person or people by sending cards, flowers, or chocolates with messages of love. So the day gets its name from a famous saint, but there are several stories of who he was. I was so intrigued by what I discovered when I was doing my research online. The popular belief about Saint Valentine is that he was a priest from Rome in the 3rd century AD. And Emperor Claudius II had banned marriage because he thought married men were bad soldiers. So Valentine felt that this was unfair. So he broke the rules and arranged marriages in secret. So when Claudius found out, Valentine was in trouble. He was thrown in jail and sentenced to death. There in jail, he fell in love with the jailer's daughter. And when he was taken to be killed on February 14th, he sent a love letter signed, "From your Valentine." But there's another version. There's so many different versions when I research it. This other version, legend has it that around 278 AD, this emperor, again, Emperor Marcus Aurelius Claudius Gothicus, also known as Claudius II, found it difficult to find men to join his army. And then he believed that it was due to a strong attachment of their wives to their wives and families. So the Roman emperor did the most logical thing to do. He decided to ban marriages altogether. Can you imagine that? So it would have been a smart move in an ideal world, but it appears that Claudius II forgot to factor in the one thing that motivates humans to move mountains for another, the love hormones. So Valentine, a Roman priest, ignored his order and married couples secretly. Well, unfortunately for Valentine, he got found out and he was arrested and possibly bitten with a club and finally beheaded. So my research shows that the first Valentine's Day was in the year 496. And having a particular Valentine's Day is a very old tradition for us in the modern world. And it has been thought to have originated from a Roman festival. And the Romans had a festival called Lupercalia. I hope I'm pronouncing it correct. And it happens in the middle of February. Officially, that's when the start of their springtime. So it's thought that as part of the celebrations, the boys drew names of girls from a box, and then they'd be boyfriend and girlfriend during the festival, and sometimes they get married. Later on, the church wanted to turn this festival into a Christian celebration and decided to use it to remember Saint Valentine too. And gradually, Saint Valentine's name started to be used by people to express their feelings to those they love. Well, here in Healthy Mondays, we celebrate diversity. So I will share how South Koreans, how do they celebrate Valentine's Day and beyond. So South Korea does celebrate Valentine's Day on February 14th, like the rest of the world. But their celebrations continue on the 14th of the following 2 months. After February 14, well, during February 14, women shower men with presents. Wow, lucky guys, right? And then on March 14, men return the favor. It's their turn to give Valentine's gifts to the women. And then for those who celebrated on neither occasion, South Koreans observe April, get this, April as a Black Day, when singles mourn their lack of a partner and eat noodles made of black bean paste. So I'm going to remember this every time I eat noodles with black bean paste, right? So how did Valentine's Day start and become popular in the United States? So according to Elizabeth White Nelson, she happened to be an associate professor of history at UNLV, University of Nevada in Las Vegas, and she was also an author of Market Sentiments, Middle-Class Market Culture in 19th Century America, and other scholars. She said the holiday was popularized in the 1840s in the United Kingdom and the United States. The specific historical roots of the celebration remain ambiguous. And some say it began with a Roman pagans festival, again, the Lupercalia. It's a festival fertility from February 13 to 15, involving animal sacrifice, ritualized sex play, and general debauchery. And others point to Roman Emperor Claudius II, famous one who banned marriages And the execution of several men named Valentine on February 14th. So there's several of them who got executed, but one of whom later became a martyr in the Christian faith. And fast forward several centuries, and the holidays show up again in the Middle Ages. And his name is Chaucer's. So he had a poem called Parliament of Fowls. I guess this is referring to the mating pattern of birds in early spring. And then later on, good old Shakespeare's Hamlet, which alludes to lucky lovers meeting on St. Valentine's Day, just bewildered me. But how do a pagan fertility festival, a Christian martyr, and an English poetry connect with this now commercialized celebration of love? So there's more. Very interesting. And I learned a lot during my research to share with you tonight about Valentine's Day. So, Valentine's Day, as we all know it in this modern day, is a time to celebrate romance and love in kissy face. But the origins of this festival of candy and cupids are actually dark, bloody, and a bit muddled. And though no one has pinpointed the exact origin of the holiday, one good place to start is ancient Rome, as we have been talking about. Guess this, where men hit on women by, well, hitting them. So from February 13 to February 15, the Romans celebrated the feast of Lupercalia. Lupercalia. The men sacrificed a goat and a dog, then whipped women with hides of the animals they just slain. So the Roman romantics were drunk, quote unquote. So they were naked. This is according to Noel Lenski. He's a historian at the University of Colorado at Boulder. He said young women would actually line up for the men to hit them, Lenski says. And I go, how stupid is that? Or how silly is that? But then this is why they believed this would make them fertile. So the brutal fate included a matchmaking lottery in which young men drew the names of the women from a jar. And then the couple would be then coupled up for the duration of the festival or even longer if the match was right. So the ancient Romans may also be responsible for the name of the modern day of love. And as we all learned earlier about Emperor Claudius II banning marriages, and then later on, Pope Gelasius I muddled up things in the 5th century by combining St. Valentine's Day with Lupercalia to expel the pagan rituals. I guess that's sacrificing of the animals. But the festival was more of a theatrical interpretation of what it had once been, and quote unquote, it was a little more of a drunken revel, but the Christians put clothes back in. That didn't stop it from being a day of fertility and love. And this is according to Noel Lenski. So, and there you have it, the history of how Valentine's Day came about. And it's really interesting, but I'm so glad we are celebrating it the way we are celebrating now. So now, as I recall, I mentioned about 39 questions. We already had gone through the 3 questions, and I really don't know if we have time to tackle the next 36 questions, but we're going to try. If not, I'm going to post the rest of the question on our AAPNA of Nevada Facebook page. So I guess an additional question to make it 40 question is, have you ever heard of the 36 questions? This set of questions was developed from scientific research done in the 1990s. And they are supposedly a game changer for people hoping to fall in love. And they can also help people who feel a little bit blah in their relationships, and also a way to rekindle the love connection without having to rely on living little love quotes for them around the house. So here's what you should know about the questions, how to ask them, and what they can do for you, for your budding or maybe long-term relationships. But let me give you a background about the 36 questions. The 36 questions to fall in love are, you guessed it, is a set of 36 questions that can help people fall in love. And they came through psychologist Arthur Aaron, PhD, and his wife Elaine Aaron, PhD, and some other researchers who wanted to see if they could inspire strangers to develop intimate connections with each other by simply asking questions. And the 36 questions are broken down into 3 groups. So maybe, I might get into the second group of questions, but we'll see. Each of which gets increasingly personal. And they are supposed to be asked and answered within 45 minutes. So I already know we won't have time for all the 36 questions. Nevertheless, I think we might have to continue to the next episode. So you may have heard of the 36 questions through the popular Modern Love column in the New York Times. This is in 2015. The year 2015, the paper published an essay by a person named Mandy Len Catron about her experience with the questions. She asked the question with an acquaintance, and the two ended up getting married. So naturally, a lot of people wanted to try these questions out for themselves after her story ran. And you just ask yourself, how can a set of questions actually spark real love? And how can 2 people go from friends to lovers or even strangers to lovers in just 45 minutes? So the study that used these questions was conducted in 1997 by the couple, as I mentioned, Arthur and Elaine Aaron. And they're actually just looking to do a research on a topic that people didn't think could be studied scientifically. And then they realized that they don't have much research, if any, that had been done on love. So Arthur Aaron and his wife, along with a team of researchers, set out to study how closeness forms between 2 people and how love affects the brain, behavior, and hormones. And the study used a closeness generating procedure, what we now know as the 36 questions that lead to love, to create closeness between strangers. And the questions are designed to spark intimacy by allowing 2 people to get to know each other on a deeper level very quickly. 45 minutes, that's really quick. It could take weeks or months for people, for the topics in the question to come up in real life, and if they come up at all. So the questions allow people to delve into parts of themselves that they might not reveal on their own, creating a sense of vulnerability and trust between them. I guess that's the key. And then after developing the 36 questions, Aaron and his team actually enlisted 2 of their research assistants, a man and a woman, so to test them out. So these assistants were involved in different projects, so they didn't have any previous access to or experience with the questions. And after having the pair ask each other the questions, Aaron had the couple, guess this, listen to this, sustain eye contact with each other for 4 minutes. And yes, the 2 ended up falling in love and getting engaged, and then they invited the entire lab staff to their wedding 6 months later. So I know you can't wait to hear about the questions, right? So you might be curious to try the 36 questions for yourself, but there's instructions first. In everything, there's instructions to do it properly. So here's how to do it. First, find a time when you and your partner can get together and have at least 45 minutes of uninterrupted time. Meeting in person is best, so you can make eye contact during the questions. And if you want to also do the 4 minutes eye contact after asking each other the questions. Very important, turn your phones on silent. Use the bathroom and eat a snack beforehand. You want to do all 36 questions in one sitting without having to break away from each other or getting distracted by other things. And once you get to the questions themselves, you'll ask them as such. For the first 15 minutes, take turns asking each other the first set of questions. So they'll be divided in 3 sets. The first question, this first 12 questions, and then the next 12, and then the next 12, totaling 36 questions. And then make sure that you alternate who asks and who answers each question first. For the first question, you'll ask, and then your partner will answer first. And then the second question, your partner will ask you, and so on. And this first set of questions is designed to fairly easy to answer. And they're not all that deep, but they can be a little revealing. And then after 15 minutes, move on to the next set of questions. These questions are a little bit more intimate and in-depth emotionally. If you haven't finished the first set, that's okay. According to the parameters of asking the questions, you want to start the second set of questions after the first 15 minutes are up. So the point of stopping each section at 15 minutes is to ensure that each of the 3 parts of the questions get equal amounts of time. And once the next 15 minutes are up, move on to set 3. And yes, even if you haven't finished set 2, I guess it's time regimented. And this final set is even more personal and will require you to both get vulnerable. And finally, the last stretch of 15 minutes is up. You can get some bonus intimacy by setting the timer for 4 minutes and then spending the time making sustained eye contact with each other. Wow. So while this could feel a little uncomfortable at first, the eye contact exercise might be the secret sauce, according to the researchers, so to speak, to making the questions effective for falling in love or maybe rekindling love, whatever the case may be. And then after you're all done, if you're looking for even more questions to ask your boyfriend, your girlfriend, or your partner, you can try this list or get inspired by the original 36 to make up your own. So the long-awaited time to go over the questions, the list of 36 questions for falling in love. Are you guys ready to try the questions? And I'm going to share with you the full list for you to tackle with your partner. So happy asking. The first set are 12 questions. And first question is, and I guess you can answer it along the way. It's up to you. I'm going to post this on our APNA, Asian American Pacific Islander Nurse Association of Nevada Facebook page. So set number 1. Number 1 question, given the choice of anyone in the world, with whom you want as a dinner guest? The second question is, would you like to be famous? In what way? The next question is, before making a telephone call, do you ever rehearse what you are going to say and why? Pretty simple, right? The fourth question is, what would constitute a perfect day for you? Number 5, when did you last sing to yourself, to someone else? 6, if you were able to live to the age of 90 and retain either the mind of a body of a 30-year-old for the last 60 years of your life, which would you want? Number 7, do you have a secret hunch about how you will die? Oh, that one is kind of scary, huh? Number 8, name 3 things you and your partner appear to have in common. I guess if you don't have a partner, then you don't answer that question. Number 9, for what in your life do you feel most grateful? Number 10, If you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be? Number 11, take 4 minutes and tell your partner your life story in as much detail as possible. I guess even if partner means like whoever you're answering the question with. And the last question for set number 1, question number 12, if you could wake up tomorrow having gained any one quality or ability, what would it be? Okay, so that's supposed to go on for 15 minutes. And whether or not you answered all the 12 questions, you move on to set number 2. And here is set number 2, which is question number 13. If a crystal ball could tell you the truth about yourself, your life, the future, or anything else, what would you want to know? Number 14, is there something that you dreamed of doing for a long time? Why haven't you done it? Number 15, what is the greatest accomplishment of your life? Number 16, what do you value most in a friendship? Remember, you will be alternating questions, right? Number 17, what is the most treasured memory? Or what is your most treasured memory? Number 18, what is your most terrible memory? And you notice this is deeper than the first set of questions, right? Number 19, if you knew that in 1 year you would die suddenly, would you change anything about the way you are now living, and why? Number 20, what does friendship mean to you? 21, what roles do love and affection play in your life? Number 22, alternate sharing something you consider a positive characteristic of your partner. Share a total of 5 items. Now you're having this interaction with a question. 23, how close and warm is your family? Do you feel your childhood was happier than most other people's? 24, how do you feel about your relationship with your mother? And that's the end of the set number 2. Now, that's supposed to go on for 15 minutes, so you move on to set number 3, the last 12 question. Question number 5, make 3 true we statements each. And for instance, we are both in this room feeling blank, blank, blank. 26, complete this sentence. I wish I had someone with whom I could share blank. 27, if you were going to become a close friend with your partner, please share what would be important for them to know. This is truly deeper questions, right? We'll make you vulnerable with this question. Am I on 28? Lost track. Okay, I think it's 28. Tell your partner what you would like about them. What you like about them. Tell your partner what you like about them. Be very honest this time, saying things that you might not say to someone you've just met. 29, share with your partner an embarrassing moment in your life. You're really starting to be vulnerable, right? 30, when did you last cry in front of another person or by yourself? 31, tell your partner something that you like about them or you already like about them. 32, what if anything is too serious to be joked about? 33, if you were to die this evening with no opportunity to communicate with anyone, what would you most regret not having told someone? Why haven't you told them yet? 34, you got 2 more questions or 3 more questions left. Your house containing everything you own catches fire. Oh, no. After saving your loved ones and pets, you have time to safely make a final dash to save any one item. What would it be and why? I think it's now looking at what's important to you, right? So, question number 35, of all the people in your family, whose death would you find most disturbing and why? Last question of the 36 questions. Share a personal problem and ask your partner's advice on how they might handle it. Also, ask your partner to reflect back to you how you seem to be feeling about the problem you have chosen. And there you have it. I think this sets you can probably realize the questions are getting deeper and deeper into your innermost fears and what's important to you. So I still am uh, curious about this 36 questions and how the significant uh, success of these questions to really allow two people to fall in love in 45 minutes. Can you fall in love with anyone? So, as far as these 36 questions go, the jury is out on whether or not you can really use the above list to make anyone fall in love with you. While Aaron's studies looked at the effect of these questions in a lab setting, there wasn't much follow up in how those couples fared 6 months later, and if the questions really did lead those pairs to lasting love. But what we can say about the questions, however, is that communicating with your partner in honest, respectful, and vulnerable ways is a major predictor of relationship success. And really being able to open up to each other and feel comfortable sharing your answers to these 36 questions or any questions that come up in your partnership is key for relationship longevity. And there you have it. It is our Healthy Mondays. Listeners out there, bringing you with Valentine's Day celebration. So enjoy your Valentine's celebration. Love, love, love. And remember, every Monday is a healthy Monday. Aloha.
The Asian American Pacific Islander Nurses Association of Nevada has just brought you Healthy Mondays with Apina of Nevada.